We have a couple of people missing, so kind of bear with us. I know there's only one person on the negative team, so this was pretty last minute trying to get together because Celida has an operation tomorrow. So we had to kind of get this chicken scratch out together, so bear with us, please. Just let me know when you're ready.
I am ready for you.
Okay. Good morning. Resolved, when in conflict of prosecuting juveniles as adults, the criminal laws of our government and society ought to be valued over the personal life of an individual in regards to the crime. We affirm this resolution.
The juvenile courts was created to handle juvenile offenders on the basis of their youth rather than their crimes. But should an 11-year-old who allegedly kills a 26-year pregnant woman and a mother of two with a shotgun be charged as an adult? It all depends on what society thinks.
When we affirm, we believe that juveniles should be prosecuted as adults. Some clarifying for definitions. When we talk about juveniles, we're talking about the ages from under 21. Especially, it's different from in Arizona where the law says 15, 16, or 17. But what we're really talking about is should they be prosecuted under the ages of 21? So we're talking mostly about kids, teenagers, and young adults. More definition, we're talking about individual versus society. Individual meaning the personal value of someone. So should we use that as a justification of them being put into jail? So let me give you an example. Should if the 11-year-old killed a mother, let's say the 11-year-old has a bad childhood. Should we use that bad childhood to justify them not being put into jail? So we're looking at their personal value. What is their pattern of behavior? Is it their poor lifestyle? That's what we need to look at as an individual. Society meaning that everyone come together. That's what governs our actions. That's when we talk about society. It's the Ziploc bag of holding things together. And so, again, it's an individual versus society issue that comes into the core of this debate.
For our first claim, a result of a crime always remains the same no matter who commits it. Jessica Reeves quotes, "Our justice depends upon holding perpetrators responsible for their actions." As a result, 3,000 juveniles nationwide are sentenced to imprisonment without possibility of parole. This was excerpted from the Equal Justice Initiative. As a group, we agreed that underage crimes should be smited for their actions due to the fact that juvenile courts fails to change the actions of a child.
And what Francis talked about is the result of the crime is still the same no matter who commits it. Another claim we would like to point out is that kids do have the mental capacity to understand the nature of their crime. Here's some evidence I would like to point out. Jessica Reeves is a legal consultant of the U.S. Time magazine. She explains that they understand the implications of violence and how to use violent weapons. The fact that child killers know how to load and shoot a gun is an exact indicator that they understand exactly what they're doing. Let me analyze that quote a little bit. There is this understanding how kids know how to use guns. We have a silent educators, which I call video games, television. If you see a child play video games when they load and shoot their gun on Call of Duty, they know exactly their motive. Their motive is exactly to kill, and they know how they know what they're doing, and they want to assess and get to an objective. And concluding that sentence, children understand they have a sophisticated knowledge of using weapons, and that we should be able to protect that. Another claim is that we need to protect our society law, the laws that govern our society. We need to be able to protect. That's why we have statutes of legislation here in Arizona. It's changed every year. That is to make sure that we are protected. Just because a kid commits a crime, we need to do something about it. We can't just leave it there and, okay, you know what, this child is poor, the child has a bad lifestyle. We need the laws that govern our society. We need to protect it. Our laws and our government helps how we function, how we survive, and how we contain criminals. We need to be able to take action and contain the criminals. Here in Arizona, the county shall bring a criminal prosecuted against a juvenile in the same manner as an adult if the juvenile is 15, 16, or 17 years of age in the time of the alleged offense. We need to have those laws to protect us. If we don't, then kids are going to be killing around, and we're not going to be doing anything about it. In all, we all agree, we affirm the resolution. The result of the crime stays the same no matter who commits it. Kids have the sophisticated use of technology and violence, and they use that based on those actions, and that we need to have the laws that govern our society be protected and protect us. And that's it. Thank you.
So you said,
Okay, hold on.
Alright, sorry, my bad.
So you guys can both stand up next time on the podium, since you're both free to answer the questions. Alright, so you have 3 minutes negative to conduct the cross-examination.
okay, so from the time I got here, what I heard mostly were about video games being a bad influence to the teenagers and the young adults and the children. Do you play video games?
Yeah.
What about you, Francis?
Yeah.
So you guys both play video games?
Yeah, we both play video games.
What kind of games do you guys play?
The Sims.
The Sims? Oh, isn't that a violent game?
The Sims, I don't suppose so.
What other games do you play? Do you play...
Well, I don't play that much video game. I played Mario 64. I don't know if that's right.
That's not right. That is not right. But what about you, Francis? What games do you play?
Play Pokemon. Yeah.
So you guys both play games. Good thing they're not violent. What about the other kids? They all play games as well.
Yeah.
Do you believe those should be taken off then? If they're so violent that all games that have violence should be taken off?
No, it's their right to play the video games.
Right, but you just said that video games are a bad influence.
Their bad influence doesn't constitute the fact that they should be taken away. Though.
So should they be taken away then? Or they should not?
They should not be taken away.
Okay. Other things. What about, you said that kids are, 13 and upper are considered adults and they're sentenced to adult jail.
Yeah.
What about kids under 13? They're 10, 9, they do crimes as well. Should they be also sentenced to adult jail, or should they just be to juvie?
They should, but doesn't mean they are. They should be.
So you're saying kids from under. What about, but they do the same crime?
Yeah, they do the same crime, but we're affirming that they should be.
They should be?
Yeah.
Okay, so even kids under 13 should do?
Yeah.
Okay. And earlier in that, you said that some of them from their past also we shouldn't have a little bit of sadness for them for the past. As in their records or their...
Wait, should we feel sad about them?
Well, you said that we shouldn't, or should we?
I'm not saying we should or feel this way or we should not. We shouldn't feel bad, and then that would not allow them to be prosecuted, is what I'm saying. Like, we can't use our emotions we can't use a judgment based on the law, based on our emotion.
Don't you think that their past might influence their actions?
Right, but they did the crime, so they should do the time. We shouldn't base our emotion on whether or not they should be put into jail, is I guess something.
So a child who's been abused, by parents, or experienced abusement, or experienced, being in the streets homeless, or any cause from their past, has nothing to do with the influence of them doing the crime.
It has something to do with their crime, but whether or not they chose to commit it is what we should look at.
Okay.
They did the crime.
They did the crime?
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what influence them, it's just as long as they did the crime.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what influence, it's what they
What
did.
if it was self-defense?
Then that's something different. That we have laws placed in society where we can protect those who are defending themselves.
Okay, time.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay, will you use any more of your prep time?
Say
Do you
yes.
think we're ready?
Alex, yeah, can we use our prep time just real quick? Oh, they're doing the rebuttal.
They're
Beautiful.
the ones.
Oh, my bad. It's the
You're listening.
varsity.
Brad is Mario 64.
All right, so we're in the 1NC right now. Okay, you guys have 7 minutes to cover both your 1NC and your rebuttal. So you're doing 2 speeches here. 7 minutes starting now.
Well, our resolution is the same as there, but we just negate it. So, when in conflict with prosecuting juveniles as adults, the criminal laws of our government and society ought to be valued over the personal life of the individual in regards of their crime. And nearly 3,000 children of ages 13 years old have been sentenced to life in prison without parole, giving them no second chance to recover or to recover or have like at least
So pretty much they are not given a second chance. They are left to fight kind of for their own, to fight for parole. How many know what parole, a plea is? Who knows what a plea is?
Isn't it like an agreement? You agree you're guilty about this but not this?
A plea is
a plea is an argument.
a plea is, by the law definition, is an allegation made by or on behalf of a party to a legal suit in support of his or her claim or defense. And this, what a plea does, it pretty much takes years off your sentence. It makes it smaller. But a young adult doesn't know what a plea is. Many of you guys don't know what a plea is. So they're left to fight for their own. This is only in the United States. Children of ages as young as 9 being sentenced to life in an adult prison. It's a greater chance of a harsher, more abusive environment. The reason for juvie and adult prison is totally separate. Juvie is more secure, more helpful, and there's police is everywhere, making sure there's no fights, there's no arguments. In an adult jail, you're put in a big, huge room where you're just locked in there all day sometimes, and you don't go outside. It's different. That's why they're different. It's for 2 separate ages, 2 separate minds, 2 separate people.
Juvenile detention centers are more as a rehabilitation treatment, or just to get help on what you did wrong and to refocus your life on doing the correct things. Where jail is mostly punishment, not like helping others.
So, jail for a teenager is really harsh in their area. 13 years old, suddenly going to an environment where crime is bigger and crime is more used and more enjoyable for people. Yeah, sometimes they get help in adult jail, but it would be better for a counselor to be one-on-one with a teenager who maybe realized his mistake or her mistake, but are able to be helped by a counselor. And except in jail, they'll be sentenced for 30 years. There's a case by Maricel from a book that I'm reading. It's called Teens. He was sentenced to jail. It turns out that he had a mental problem, but he was sentenced to jail for 30 years. And if his mother wouldn't have kept fighting, he would have been there for 30 years, and he was mentally sick. When she finally proved that he was mentally sick, they took those 30 years off, and he was barely 13 years old. A 13-year-old be sentenced for 30 years in prison is pretty much like a lifetime in it. So it is inexplicably wrong if we do sentence them to jail, an adult jail for 30 years, 24 years. So that's our rebuttal. Okay. We only came up with 2 claims. We were unable to do a third. I'm sorry. Our first claim is, well, mentors influence being given at adult jail. And the second claim is unfair trials, such as not being able to fight for a plea. Some lawyers aren't able to help, or better yet, don't help with the fight or with the court. The law has changed in the way that teenagers were given 4 days before court, and now it's only 48 hours, giving them a little bit of chance to get prepared to fight, or a little bit of time to even get the whole information for them to fight. And those are 2 claims. We'll speak of them later. We're done. Do you want to say the thesis?
Well, our first claim, we have a quote from this psychologist saying that a lot of children are losing good role models, like their grandparents or their parents, because they're committing crime. And that if we send them to an adult jail, they'll just have worse mentors, in a way. Like, they will teach them, like, other crimes and stuff. Not like their parents that would guide them to the right direction, saying, no, you can't do that, that's not right. And then, yeah.
Are you guys done?
Mm-hmm.
Could we do some prep time for the cross section?
Right.
Alright. Just for cross-examining the negative side, why do we have laws in our society?
Well, laws are to stabilize a society,
So stabilize, so don't they protect us too?
yeah.
They protect us. So when an 18-year-old kills a pregnant woman, and let's say this guy has a history of violence, should we
He's
put
already
that?
an adult.
Yeah, let's not focus on his age. Actually, let's focus on the nature of the crime. Pregnant woman's killed, murdered. Should we protect everyone else from that person based on the crime they committed? Should we protect them? Okay. So saying that we protect them, would it matter, based on focusing on the nature of the crime, would it matter what age they are? Just based on the nature, would it matter their age?
Yes.
Would it matter of their age?
It would or would it?
Would it matter of their age?
Oh, I thought you said it would.
No, it wouldn't.
No, I don't think so.
So you're saying it doesn't matter the age based on the nature of the crime that's committed. Do you think that, let's say, so in your argument you said that the crime doesn't fit the juvenile. So basically you're saying, well, juvenile is there for teenagers to help protect them. It's more suited for kids rather than the adult jails. Would you agree with that?
Well, I did not say that the crime does not sit with the kids. I just said that if the teenager commits a crime, everybody makes a crime. If they're sentenced to adult jail, it would kind of influence them to be more rebellious in a way.
Okay.
Juvie is just there to help them change that way, change their road, change their mind, and it does protect them. It's the same as jail. You're protecting the people inside from not coming out and killing other people all of a sudden again.
But you were referencing that juvenile is more suited to teenagers and not based on the crime. You said that adults, if we put them in the big house, it would hurt them more, correct? So just because it hurts the criminal, when we're talking about individual, it doesn't matter about the individual, it's about the nature of the crime.
When you brought up the juvenile courts was better or more helpful, can you explain more?
They're better for both the society and the individual, because the individual gets a fair trial and the society gets protected from that individual.
Okay, well, isn't the juvenile court was created to handle juvenile offenders based on their youth rather than their crimes? Is that true? Do you believe it?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's all.
Alright.
Time's up.
Thank you. In the 1AR column.
So we're stressing the fact that the crime should fit the jail. The negative side argues that juveniles who commit crimes should belong in the juvenile house rather than adults who commit adult crimes should belong in the big house. But we don't want to focus on who commits the crime because the purpose of our resolution is to focus on the nature of the crime, no matter who commits it. All right. The result, when we said the result of the crimes remain the same, that's true, because if a 46-year-old man kills and rapes a 16-year-old girl, it doesn't matter how old that person is. It's matter what was done. Even if a kid of age 17 did the same, the result is always going to be the same, no matter who commits it. And we all would also like to We would also like to stress that the negative side argues, well, hey, listen, juveniles they're not going to benefit from jail. They're not going to do anything. All it is surrounded by violence. But that's not always necessary. Jail is also therapeutic. Therapeutic in the way that we have rehabilitation programs for drug addicts who are addicted to heroin, crack, cocaine, all that stuff. We have programs, tax-paying money, we pay those money to help criminals. And even if the child commits a crime, we would also help them. We also have, what else do we have? We have evangelized programs, Christian programs. A lot of missionaries come out, they reach out, and they help evangelize criminals who are in need of spirit support, religious support. That they are available to that. So we're saying that juveniles are also available to the same things that adult criminals are too. Jail is also therapeutic. It's not always surrounded by violence. We citizens pay taxes to help these criminals. Okay. And she also said about a plea. How juveniles are not able to accept a plea, and how it is true, juveniles have a lack of capacity to know about the law. But that goes for everyone else. Our Tucson has a lot of lawyers that specialize in juvenile support. You can see a lot of lawyers that would help juveniles, help them understand the law. So law is not just law is foreign to almost everyone. Sometimes not everybody knows much about the law, like they argue. And all in all, the crime should fit the nature. The nature of the crime should fit the jail that they're put in. When we also talked about misdemeanors. Misdemeanors include possession of marijuana, little petty thefts. Those are small misdemeanor crimes. Those range from around 2 months to almost 6 months in jail. Those are very small crimes. Most juveniles are also put on probation. Same thing as to an adult. If an adult's caught with marijuana, they're also put on probation. So it's not just we're here to put you in jail. This is not just a jail issue. Okay? This is what our laws should do to to juveniles and to adults. There's a difference between conviction and prosecuting. We're going after prosecuting. We're not doing conviction. Conviction is when you successfully put someone in jail. We're focusing on prosecuting. What should our government do to take action against those who commit crimes? And that's what we should have the government to do. Always be there to take charge of people who commit crimes. Okay? Thank you.
Answering the timer for you ladies, or you guys have like 10 minutes left? This is your last one. Your time is starting.
Okay. So, by hiring and sentencing teens as adults, we are condemning them to a more childhood view of crime. But I do want to point out that LaBelle, in one of the articles, LaBelle says that so often adults receive lesser sentence for comparable crimes. that says a lot to me. Crime is the same thing, right? You guys said, as I said, a crime is a crime no matter what age does it. So if the age doesn't matter, why is it that adults are being sentenced lesser than a juvie? A juvie sentenced 30 years and an adult could be sentenced 5 years. That is unfair and that is unreasonable to me. I believe a child aged from 13 to 19 should be sentenced to juvenile jail, juvenile. Because at age 21, they're able to leave juvie. At age 21, you're considered an adult. If you do a crime at 21, go ahead, you can be sentenced to adult jail. You're already an adult. But why be sentenced at age 13? If you can just go to juvie and stay there for as long as you need and just be out at 21, and then you can go, if you do another crime, be sentenced as an adult. Why at 13? Why at 10 or 15 or 14? Why not at 21? When they realize and have been taught that crime is a bad path to go to. And juvie teaches that to them. It teaches them that if you keep going through that path, you're going to get into worse crimes and to worse, even to the point of death if you get shot. But I believe that juvie is the best way for them to be influenced. As Robert said, in jail they do give them missionary. There's people who go and preach to them or give them testimonies. It's the same in juvie. Juvie, there's mentors being sent to juvie. There's people who have experienced it and have told them what that road takes them to. Their testimonies talk to them as well. What's the difference of a juvie and adult is the fact of the age. And age does matter. Age is important to us because age shows our mentality. It shows how much we can take adult jail or juvie jail or any jail possible out there. But I believe that a teenager from 13 to 19 should be given a second chance to be sentenced to juvie instead of adult jail for 30 years all of a sudden.
There's also a higher risk of a child getting out of an adult prison to commit more crimes than of them coming out of juvie. And juvie represents how mature they are mentally and like their morals too.
You guys are about to get the bell, so do you have more arguments that you didn't get a chance to do?
No, it's fine.
Can we pop?
No.
Hold on a second.